Hello everyone and welcome to today's online class for class 12. Highest fluoride of manganese is found to be MnF4, whereas the highest oxide of manganese is found to be Mn2O7. In MnO4, the manganese is in its +4 oxidation state, and in Mn2O7, manganese is +7 oxidation state, in its +7 oxidation state. Now, highest oxidation state of manganese is found to be stabilized by the oxygen, whereas compared to the fluorine. Why? This is the explanation why highest fluoride of manganese is found to be Mn4 and whereas highest oxide for manganese is found to be Mn2O7. Explain. This is the question that they are asking. Now let's look at the structure of Mn2O7. This is the structure of Mn2O7 in which manganese and two manganese are breach bonded by one single common oxygen, and individually manganese are doubly are bonded with 3 oxygen atom with a double bond. Now this kind of double bond formation is possible with oxygen only, but not with fluorine. Fluorine cannot do double bond. That's why the highest oxidation state gets more stabilized with oxygen compared to the fluorine, because of this tendency to form double bond of oxygen, which strengthen the bond formation with the manganese in the highest oxidation state and also stabilize the oxidation state. That's why the highest oxidation states are more stabilized when it's form bonds with oxygen compared to the fluorine, which is evident in this example AL of manganese, in which fluoride can form a stable compound in the form of MnF4, which is +4 oxidation, in which manganese is having +4 oxidation state, but the highest oxidation state of manganese +7 is having a stable compound with oxygen in the form of Mn2O7. When a metal releases an electron and produces its positively charged cation and dissolve in an aqueous solution, the generalized chemical equation that it will follow is this one. Where N in its solid form, the atom of N in its solid form loses n numbers of electrons to produce N plus in aqueous solution, dissolved in this aqueous solution. Now, the tendency of one atom of M, the tendency of metal M to produce the N plus oxidation state in aqueous solution is known as the standard electrode potential. This potential of metal to produce a stable oxidation state in an aqueous solution is measured with the help of standard electrode potential. Again I am saying, metal in a solid state loses n numbers of electron and produces Mn plus ion in aqueous solution. Now the tendency of the metals are different for different metals. The tendency of metal to produce, the capacity of metal to produce oxidation state, a stable ion with a certain oxidation state in aqueous solution, is the capacity or the tendency is measured with the help of standard electrode potential, which is given by M2 plus slash of M. Now this is electrode potential. It has been found that if this value is found to be negative, if E m2 plus by slash m is found to be negative, in that case the transformation of metal into its oxidation state in aqueous solution is extremely high. That is, for the feasibility of this entire process, the m2 plus by m value needs to be negative. Higher the value of negative value of m2 plus m, higher is the stability of this mn plus in the aqueous solution, because higher will be the feasibility of this transformation state. Now this entire transformation happens when Ms is transforming in solid state. Atom of this metal in solid state is transforming Mn plus in aqueous solution, and the energy associated during this transformation is delta H T. Let's take it as delta H T. Now this thing not happening just by one single step. Multiple step is required to transform solid metal in solid state to produce ionic metal in its certain oxidation state in aqueous solution. The first step, that is metal in solid state, needs to be converted into the metal in its gaseous state. That is, atomization is happening. Therefore, atomization energy is needed to give. Which is delta H A. Let's take it as delta H A. In the next step, metal in its gaseous state is losing n numbers of electrons and producing Mn plus in gaseous state only. This is ionization. So ionization energy IE1 and IE2. Let's take N is 2. Metal in solid state, after losing 2 electrons, producing metal N plus 2 oxidation state in aqueous solution. And this is the electron potential that is being given, and delta HT is the energy transformation. If this step transformation is happening only in one step, but it is not happening in one step. The first step is the first step that is being happen is metal in solid state is transforming itself in the free metallic atom in the gaseous state. That is, atomization is happening. Therefore, atomization energy delta HA is being given to it. This, in the second step, metal in the gaseous state is producing Mn2 plus by releasing 2 electrons. Therefore, ionization is happening. Therefore, ionization enthalpy is needed to produce in here. 2 electrons are leaving. Therefore, 2 ionization energy is needed. Ionization energy 1 plus ionization energy 2. In the last step, Mn2 plus in gaseous state is dissolving in the aqueous solution solvent to produce the solution of Mn2 plus in aqueous solution. So this is nothing but the solvation is happening, and as solvation is happening, we are to give hydration enthalpy or hydration energy. Delta H hydrogen. Now we know that the total energy of transformation, that is delta HT, is actually equal to the all the energy associated during the transformation. That is, the first step is delta H atomization. The atomization enthalpy was given delta HA, plus the ionization enthalpy is also given in the second step. So the total energy will be delta HA plus IE1 plus IE2 plus in the last step hydration enthalpy has been released. So this energy is also needs to be included. The total energy of the transformation delta HT equals to, delta HA plus IE1 plus IE2 plus delta H hydration. This is the total energy during this transformation. Now, in this entire transformation can be whether it is feasible or not can also be explained with the help of this electrode potential data. E equals to m2 plus m. Now it also can be held. It also can be compared with the help of this energy change, total enthalpy change of this transformation, that is delta HT. If delta HT is found to be negative, then this entire transformation is feasible. If this entire transformation is feasible, then M2 plus in aqueous solution is a very stable ion. Now this is also needs to be negative. Electrode potential M2 plus by M is also needed to be negative. If the values of this electrode potential for any transformation is found to be negative, in that case I can say that the transformation that it is happening is very feasible, and the ion that is producing in the aqueous solution after dissolution is also very stable in the aqueous solution. That is the result that we can get. So electrode potential of this transformation is actually related with the total energy change of this transformation. By comparing all these parameters, we can actually predict or compare whether our plus 2 oxidation states for transition elements, for D block element, whether their plus 2 oxidation states are stable or not. Now, as these two are related, delta HT depends on atomization energy, ionization energy of the metal, and hydration enthalpy of the metal. And electrode potential is related with the total energy delta HT. Therefore, electrode potential is also related with the atomization of the metals, ionization of the metal, and hydration enthalpy of the metal ion also. That's why during the discussion whether an ion in plus 2 oxidation state in aqueous solution for D block elements, whether they are stable or not, we always consider their electrode potential value, and we compare their electrode potential value with the help of atomization energy, ionization energy, and hydration enthalpies of their individual of the individual elements.